You know what time it is. You know what time it is.
How firm thy friendship. Oh, how
you know what time it is. I'm raw with them boys of the fall. You know what time it is. On the ground with a nose for the ball. You know what time it is. Blood, sweat, and them tears for this game. Leaving it all out on the field with no fear for you lames. Yeah, you know what time it is. Come brawl with them boys of the fall. Covered in gray and scarlet, massive, stiff arms to your jaw. We breaking it. We sick of seeing you clowns with the crown. We taking it.
What up, Buckeye Nation? Welcome to the Buckeye Boys, where we talk about college football with real fans. I'm Devin. That's Mello. And as you can see, we are honored and blessed to have Max Riley, the newest Buckeye commit, on our channel today. Been excited and waiting to hear his story and how he became a Buckeye. Max, how you doing today, man?
I'm great. How are you guys doing?
We're good, man. Good, man. I know that if you know anything about Buckeye Nation, Max, it's that for those of us that follow the Buckeyes like hardcore, like clear down to recruiting and whatnot, we've had our eye on the offensive line for a long time, and you being an in-state recruit and stuff like that. So to see you commit and become a Buckeye, I mean, the internet blew up. We blew up. I mean, we were just stoked, man. So, glad you became a Buckeye, man.
Yep, I'm fired up. Excited to be a Buckeye.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. Well, let's get this thing started, man. I know you're limited on your time. You got other things to do. So I'm just want to start off and ask, man, what got you into football? Do you have family members that played football or, any siblings or anything? Why did you start playing football?
I think I'm actually the first person in my family to ever play football. I'm the oldest out of 6 kids. So now my little brother, who's a sophomore, he plays football too. And then my 10-year-old brother also plays football.
Nice.
So.
Mello?
Yep.
Yes, sir. So do you get to play with your little brother in high school at all?
Yeah, I think the plan is right now I'll play probably left tackle this upcoming season for my high school team, and he'll play left guard. So looking forward to that. Yep.
Gotcha.
Should be fun.
Yeah, that's going to be a blast, dude. But being the big-time recruit you are, obviously you've had a lot of schools reach out to you, man. We've watched your film. We've seen your potential, dude. We feel like you're like a Swiss Army knife on there. You got center, guard, tackle. You can kind of play all over the place. Your value on the offensive line is just pretty much unmatched compared to most people's. But when did your recruitment really start? When was that time that you realized, like, dang, man, I might have a serious future in this game of football?
Yeah, so I got my first offer late January, my freshman year. And then a week later, that first offer was Toledo. And then a week later, I got Florida State and Miami. And then Coach Terwilliger from Ohio State reached out and was like, we want to have you down for spring practice. I think it was March 7th. And then I got an offer from Ohio State, and it just went crazy after that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I guarantee, dude, when Ohio State offers somebody, you can see what it is. They're very particular about who they offer, like more than most teams in the country. You see other teams that have an enormous amount of offers out. But Ohio State, man, if they offer you, you're one of the best in the country at what you do.
Yeah, not only one of the best at country, what you do, you're one of the best quality players in terms of character. Have you noticed what we've noticed from doing all these different interviews and talking to these kids, all you kids, you guys are very mature. You guys are mentally mature, and you're just great people in general, because there's a lot of 5-stars. There's a lot of great athletes out there, but they, in terms of a cultural fit and what they're trying to build at Ohio State, they don't fit. And they might not get the same treatment, but we're so glad that you're in the class. Especially, we've been following that 26 O-line class in Ohio, which I think even if we just stayed Ohio, all O-line, that's a national championship O-line quality class in general. So we're excited that you're in the fold. Like he said, your versatility kind of reminds me of a Donnie Jackson, where you could play pretty much anywhere on the line and just thrive, and especially because you're probably still growing some. So there's no telling, you might end up being you could play tackle, guard, like you said, and I think you're gonna be elite either way, and we're just happy to have you.
Yep. Thank you. I appreciate it.
One of the big things that gets talked about, man, is your dad 6'7" or 6'8"?
Yeah.
Is that what it is? Do you think you're done growing?
I have no idea. My dad grew an inch in college, so hopefully,
Yeah.
I got another inch in me. So
I mean,
I can get up
not that
to
it, not
like
that it matters. You're good right where you're at, but I was just asking out of curiosity, man. So here we go, man. Diving into it, dude. Can you explain to us like how your relationship with Ohio State started? You already explained the first coach that reached out to you and stuff, but walk us through your first visit there, and then maybe how it's came to be where it's at today.
Yeah, so Coach Terwilliger reached out, and then in that period in between, Coach Key came and visited me at the high school. And then Coach Fry came in like the week after, and then I got offered March 7th. I think I visited Ohio State like 12 times. Coach Day thinks I might hold the record for most visits, but yeah, I have a great relationship with all those guys. Obviously, Coach Fry leaving, and I think it was either January or February, but that was kind of like a big question, like who's gonna, fill that job. And then Coach Bowen came along. I love him. He's a great guy, great coach, and I believe in him. So,
How long did it take you to develop a connection with Coach Bowen?
I mean, he was on it. I mean, we were FaceTiming Zoom calls like multiple times a week. We were doing joint Zoom calls with my parents and Coach Day and himself, just building that relationship. So
That's good to know.
Yeah, nice.
Yep.
So when it came down for you to make a decision on what college you wanted to go to, I know there's been timetables talked about, but when you know, man. But that time leading up to that, Clemson was on this heater, man. And, Adam Guthrie went there and we were like, dang, man, there goes an Ohio lineman. And then you were being talked about like next, like in line. And you even had some crystal balls out to Clemson. So in that moment, man, where were you at in your head and what was going on there that ultimately made you say, man, it's just time to be a Buckeye, bro? You kind of hinted at it before we hit the go live button. So just walk us through that again.
Yeah, I just don't think there's been a better time to be a Buckeye. Coming off that national championship run, just like the almost like dynasty Coach Day, I think is going to start building here. Coming off his first natty, Coach Day is a great human. I mean, just a great man and a leader of men that like my parents are like, yeah, you should go play for him. Like he is a leader of men. He's going to help develop you not only into a better football player, but a better person as well.
Absolutely. So what did you think about how the offensive line performed last season? We had probably the best left tackle, in my opinion, the best left tackle in the country go out October 12th, and then we lost the best center. And Seth, how do you think the adjustments that were made, and what do you think the O-line showed throughout this that time frame to win the national championship?
Well, it shows the culture fight. I mean, you had those two, all-American caliber players get injured, and you got guys like Carson, Donnie, Luke, Tegra, Austin, all those guys step up and ball out and win a natty. And three of those dudes are Ohio dudes, so that's also pretty
Amen,
cool.
man.
Yep.
Yeah. What's it like going in there, visiting, man? What's your relationship like with the other offensive linemen that are on the team already, and maybe even other players in there? You got connected with some of the players on the team yet?
Yeah. So Carter and Jake, I've spent a bit of time with just on visits last year. Dion and Devontae Armstrong, I've trained with them since I was, I think, a freshman in high school. We train at T3 Performance in Avon, Ohio. And then Luke also trains there sometimes in the off season, so I've gotten to know him quite a bit.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. I figured you might have known a couple of those guys, but obviously there's a couple other kids, Ohio kids committed in the 26 class. You're the first offensive lineman committed in this class out of Ohio, and from the outside looking in, when you're being talked about now as like the leader of the class in the offensive line in the trenches and just in general overall. So what does that feel like, man? Like, are you taking that as a responsibility? Are you fired up to kind of get some other kids in this class and try to make this one of the best classes Ohio State's hired? Where are you at with that? And are there any recruits in particular that you've been in contact with and you like the way things are going?
Oh yeah, I enjoy being a recruiter. The day I committed, I stayed up till about like midnight just texting guys like,
Yeah.
let's get this started. Been talking to Sam quite a bit, texting him every other day or so. We spent a lot of time together on our visit this past Monday. He also trains at the T3 in Avon, so we have a same trainer there and whatnot. Also been talking to Champ quite a bit. I reached out to guys like Felix Ojo, Jackson Cantwell, even some like the non-O line guys like Storm Miller, CJ Santa, and Favorki.
Yeah.
We love that as Buckeye fans. We love hearing stuff like that. You're doing your due diligence, so that's also amazing. You just hit on a question I really wanted to talk about. Your visit. What was that like, and how was the experience on this last visit you just went to during spring practice?
Oh, it was great. I really enjoyed it. Got to sit in. I think there was like 10 O-line recruits there on the first day, so the O-line meeting room was a bit packed. But we were all in there listening to what Coach Bowen had to say. It's day one, so we were all in there for that. Met with Coach Day, just talking to him. First visit being a Buckeye and whatnot. We watched practice. I had a pretty extensive meeting with Coach Mick, just like where he wants me at when I enroll in December or January, depending on the time frame.
So my last question in terms of that is just does the team seem locked in and focused and ready to make another run, in your opinion?
Yeah, it's Ohio State. They're always going to be locked in. Don't have to worry about that too much.
We love that.
Yeah,
Yep.
for sure. So going a little bit of a different route, like you as a football player, man, being on the offensive line, can you kind of explain to us what you love about that, man? Is it getting mean and shoving people? Is it outsmarting people? What is it about that position that you fell in love with?
Yeah, I love just the physical aspect of just driving a person from point A to point B against their will. I try to be like the nicest person I can be off the field, but if something doesn't make me very happy off the field, I don't do anything about it. I just store it up, for Friday nights and just let it out, and that's kind of how I operate. I love the idea of just 5 dudes working as one in a unit. I think it can be a pretty special, brotherhood to be a part of.
And have you ever played defense at all, like on the D line in your life?
Yep.
What position?
Everything. My nickname was Old Faithful this past season. One of our DNs came up with that just because I'd play pretty much anywhere, and we kind of just roll with it.
What did you like? What did you think about defensive line? Because I used to be a DN myself, so I'm kind of biased. I feel like that's the best position in football.
Yeah, I mean, when I was in middle school, I always was hoping I'd be like a Nick or Joey Bosa and get recruited as a DN. And then going into freshman year, a high school football coach was like, "Hey, if you're gonna, play varsity as a freshman, your best shot is playing, offensive tackle." So I was like, "All right, I'll do it," and I just fell in love with it. So,
yeah, that's good stuff, man. What are some things? Because obviously, man, if you have the mindset in sports that you're a finished product, not much growth happens. So, I mean, I'm guessing there's things in your game that you're really wanting to work on, but let Buckeye Nation, like, what's one thing that you like really pride yourself on when you're on the offensive line? What's one thing you're really good at? And then what's one area of your game that you would like to see improvement on?
yeah, I just say I have a lot of God-given talent when it comes to just like athleticism, being able to move for being, 200. I think I'm like 84 pounds, 284 pounds right now. But some stuff I want to work on is just I've been working on my legs a lot, just trying to be more powerful, like at the point of contact and, on just like that first contact instead of relying more upper body, just legs, finishing blocks.
So you said earlier that you, Coach Mick was talking about where he wanted you. Where specifically does he want you in terms of weight? And are you going to enroll early?
Yeah, I'm planning on enrolling early. Weight-wise, I think he said 295, which it's only 1.5 pounds a month for me. So that's a pretty achievable goal.
Right.
Man, I heard you mention something that I just got to ask on because, Jesus radically saved my life like 5 years ago, dude. He transformed me, gave me a new mind, a new body, a new soul, the whole 9 yards. We're huge on power of Jesus on this channel and faith. And we had that conversation with several recruits that Ohio State is recruiting. And you saw last year what the leaders on the team did, man, holding those revivals on campus, baptisms. And it became a pretty big story in the football community. And there was a divided community there, which blew my mind a little bit. But what's your thoughts on that, man, of a football team like being strong in a particular faith together as one unit? Just walk me through that, whatever it is you want to share with us in regards to your faith and what that means to you on the football field and being a team.
Yeah, I'm a follower of Christ. He saved my life also. Before every game, I always read Psalm 23, and we'll pray together as a team before games and after games. And usually after the games, we'll do it with our opponent, win or lose. It could be our rival school or not. We pray with everybody. And then seeing what Ohio State was able to do this past season was amazing. Just, it's Ohio State's probably the biggest brand in college football. So them, using being Ohio State football players and stuff to glorify Christ is something special.
Absolutely.
Yeah, dude. And when you got a platform like that, when you're a player at Ohio State, I mean, because you have committed to Ohio State, you now have a pretty big platform. Like when you speak, man, there's going to be thousands of people listening to you. There's going to be a lot of people that watch this interview. There's people that have taken the time out of their day on a Sunday because they heard you were coming on this show and they're like, dude, this is so cool. So it's so amazing to me to see like young men your age and even a little bit older that are that mature. And that's what Mello was kind of hinting at. When he brought that up earlier, dude, is the culture, the kind of people that Ohio State recruits. And I think that's like the number one most important thing. And I think Ohio State, Ryan Day makes that their number one priority. Like no matter what your skill level is, if you don't fit the culture, the brotherhood at Ohio State, you're not going to get an opportunity to play for them. So I love it, man. You know what I mean? I've loved that you became a Buckeye. There's a couple questions in the chat, just Buckeye Nation wanting to get to know you, man. Maybe not so much football related, but they really want to know what your favorite food is, bro. That's
a good question. So I'm going to do a top 3.
Okay.
So one of them is probably biscuits and gravy that my mom makes. It's really good. My grandma's pancakes are also really good. And my grandma makes this banana bread, and it's like the greatest thing I've ever eaten, and I love it so much. I also won't turn down like a good steak or something. I love steak too. So
yeah, dude. But a good old fashioned homemade biscuits and gravy. Oh my goodness, dude.
Yeah, don't get me started. Yeah.
I was gonna think you were from the South or something saying that. Because I'm down here in Georgia in Gwinnett County. I'm actually by Grayson High School where Tyler Atkinson plays. I'm like 2 miles from there. I've been trying every time I see him. I'm like OH trying to get him. But we'll see. Awesome. But my question for you is in terms of long term, what is your vision for yourself? Like, obviously, I'm sure playing in NFL is one, but I mean, after that, do you see yourself coming back to Ohio State coaching? Do you see yourself just getting into business or real estate or something? Like, what's your vision long term after football?
Yeah, so I obviously want to play football as long as I can, like a lot of dudes want to. After that, I just want to be able to help people, honestly. Whatever way the Lord calls me to do that, that's what I plan to do, Yeah. So.
Yeah. So college football's changed a bunch, man. NIL, you guys can get paid now. It's a beautiful thing, dude. It should have happened a long time ago. Transfer portal, is a good thing, can be a good thing. And it's a big debate. There's always there's big debates that can happen between NIL and the transfer portal. There's good things and there's bad things about them, pretty much like anything. I mean, the internet's a beautiful tool, but you can also make it a horrendous tool and spread evil if you want to with the thing. But give us your overall thoughts about where college football is headed with NIL and the transfer portal in particular.
I think NIL is pretty cool just from like an athlete's perspective. We get paid to do what we love. We're going to school for free too. So just very blessed to be in that position to have that transfer portal. I don't really have too many opinions on it. It depends on the people, I guess, and what they think about it, how certain programs operate with it. But I don't really have too much of an opinion on it.
Yeah, I got you. Lunatic in the chat. He wants to know, like, what are some of the OSU players that have reached out to you the most during this process?
Probably Dion and Devontae, just because
Yeah.
I trained with them for like 2 years and stuff, and we did a strength. It's like a football oriented strength and conditioning class with our trainer Dale at T3 in Avon. But yeah, just hanging out with those two guys. They're some athletic freaks. I remember seeing Dion do like single arm pull ups, and I was like, dude, what the heck?
What?
What?
Are you
Yeah.
serious?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy,
bro.
Yeah, they're
Yeah, man.
athletic specimens for sure.
Yeah. So, and then after that, when Mick gets a hold of them in the weight room, dude, I mean, watching some of these freshmen that came in to this class, I don't know if you've seen like Devin Sanchez, Riley Pettijohn, Tarvos Alf, all those guys that have been there with Mick. Some of them put on 20 pounds, dude, and they just completely change your body for sure. But going to wrap it up here and just get one more question from me and Mello. I'm just kind of curious, man, as a recruit, when you're going to look at a team, how much does the depth chart matter to you? Are you really looking at how fast you can get on the field, or is that very high on your priority list?
I think it is to an extent. Obviously, you want to come in and compete to play, but I talked with a coach from a different school earlier in my recruitment, and he was like, I hate to play freshmen because, if you look at it, it's like such a wear and tear on your bodies. You see these dudes, they're wearing the shoulder braces and all that, and they're just all dinged up and stuff, and your bodies are kind of, struggling with it. But I think the goal is always to come in, play as soon as you can. And then even if you don't, to drive the upperclassmen and be like, hey, I'm right behind you. Better not let me catch up, just to get those guys better too, I think is also very important.
Amen.
So if you could pancake one guy in college football, who's the guy you want to pancake the most?
Oh, man. Like a current or past?
Either or, whatever you feel comfortable.
You want me to give you a list of the team up north defensive ends and tackles, or you already know who they are?
Oh, yeah. Anybody and everybody. That's all I say.
Okay.
I like
the goal.
Yo, I'm going to sneak in one more question, man. Where are you at with the rivalry with that team up north, dude? Is it I mean, where does it sit on your list of being an Ohio kid, now committed to Ohio State? Is it pretty ingrained in you? Does it fire you up?
Yeah. I mean, growing up, just being an Ohio kid, like I always remember during the Coach Meyer era, just like it was always just a beat down. Definitely want to get back to that. I have a lot of respect for that program, just in terms of like they're always usually pretty good, but I don't like them at all. I want to beat them every year. That's always the goal. Get the gold pants.
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah.
And this is the last thing. C-Dub wants to know if you could post your grandma's banana bread recipe on your socials when you get
I don't even have access to that. That's all locked up. That's hers. Yeah.
Mello, any final words for Max?
Man, thanks for being a Buckeye, man. We really needed you. We're so excited to have you. That I'm telling you, everybody's been talking about you on every pod. Like, you're the talk of Buckeye Nation, and we're glad that you're one of the leaders of this class, and we look forward to seeing you on the field.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you sharing your faith with us, sharing who you are as a person, dude, letting Buckeye Nation get to know you. I'm thrilled you're a Buckeye, bro. We'll keep close tabs on you now, see how your football career goes for you. I'll be rooting for you, man, and we'll reach out at a later date, see if we can get you back on here for an update, man. But God bless you. Appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys. IO.
Yes, sir.
All right. See you guys.
See you.
Well, yet again, man, there's that unknown, used to be unknown, right? That character aspect of it. That's one of the things, man, I love about having a channel and being able to get these kids on here is as a fan base, we used not to have access to, okay, what type of character are these? Because really all we had before was, other people interviewing them. But most of the time it was just articles where people would type out what this person said, and they would only put in certain things out of context with their opinion before and after, and really form their words to whatever it is they wanted you to feel. Right now, we get to talk to them directly and see like who they are as a person, man. And yet again, there's another one on the list, dude. Big on faith, mature above his years. I mean, what does he want to do in life? Help people? Are you kidding me? You're 15, 14. I don't know how old you are, but you're not an adult.
He's probably 16. Yeah.
And what you want to do in life is help other people. Like, dude, that took me 30 years to get to that point. You know what I'm saying? Being like,
yeah, man,
to be unselfish. And I think that might be one of the first characteristics that Ryan Day looks for in people is unselfishness. You know what I mean?
I was about to say Day does it again, and it makes sense that you want playing a football game, which is like the ultimate team sport, and you want your players to be unselfish. Why? Because they're going to fight for one another. The brotherhood is more real. And guess what? You get great character players. You don't have your players driving their vehicles into apartment buildings and just speeding all over the town and putting everybody else's life in jeopardy. Our kids are not getting in trouble. Regardless of what happens on and off the field, they're not getting in trouble. They're going out into the community and giving back and helping. And they have one of the highest GPAs in all of sports. So, I mean, and they won a natty. So, like, Coach Day, we got to give him his props, seriously.
Yeah, there's no doubt, because you got the unselfishness of it, and then you got it to where it's like, I mean, he even said, dude, I want to push the upperclassmen. You know what I mean? He wants to make them better. Like, so that unselfishness goes to that as well. Like, can you imagine if, like, there is a competition, but there's a way to handle competition. And the way to handle that is you don't want bad things for your teammates so you can take their spot. Right. You want good things for everybody on your team. You just want to be better than them, and I wonder in college football, how many teams are full of people on their roster that not want like tragic things to happen to people, but it's like, okay, man, I hope you really don't work hard in the weight room so I can pass you type of mentality. I don't think Ohio State has too many of those people. They are there for their brothers and for the team. Like, it's not that brotherhood slogan that is talked about. It's not just a saying. It's legit not.
It is. It isn't. I mean, and Gary and Conley said it was a real thing too when we got to interview him. But Lacey hit it right on the head. Day attracts kids that have his similar character, and that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, for sure, man. And dude, if you ever go over on Pop's Pod, this Friday we're going to have Sinclair's dad on as well. But it gets pretty in depth of what is going on inside of recruiting. Pretty much
you going to have on? I'm sorry, who's coming on Friday?
Tavian Sinclair's dad. So essentially the show will consist of 3 first-round draft pick dads. So think about that for a second. You might want to tune in. I'm just going to be off in the corner. Don't pay attention to me. I mean, those 3 dudes talking about recruitment, what kids should pay attention to, man. And that last show really opened my eyes to how crazy recruitment is, with coaches and teams that make up stuff, and players, wanting to go out and find love and wanting coaches to show them love. And Daniel was like, man, this ain't about love, man. This is a business. You got to put your side in too, man. A coach reaches out and shows you love from Ohio State, he freaking means it. You know what I mean? And so you got to do your part as well. So a lot goes on to this recruiting thing, man, that I thought I was aware of it, but Pop's Pod, it'll open your eyes to some new things, man, and kind of show you everything that goes on in recruiting and how important it is for these recruits to make the right decision and be surrounded by people that care that they make the right decision. So big time stuff. Yeah, Steely, it was, man. It got me fired up. But
that was great. It was a great show. I'm not even gonna lie. That was probably my best one that they've done so far.
Yeah, I agree. That committable, uncommittable offer, I've just never thought about it to the next level. Like, I've known those were around,
right?
But I never thought about what that meant for those recruits themselves, especially if they don't know their offer's uncommittable. Can you imagine that?
Crazy,
not knowing.
bro.
I mean, dude, that's just yeah, dude.
You got to think about it. Some of these coaches are very shady because this is how they provide for their families. So they're trying to keep everybody on hooks. So that way they can pick the best ones. And if their best one all of a sudden flakes on them, they have the next best one that they can go to. So, but the kid that's the next best one, because I go through it with my daughter right now. So that's why I can speak on it. And the kid that's the next best one, if they're like, oh, we're closing down and this is where I want to go, and they don't actually get to you, and then you put all your eggs in that one basket, then you could kind of screw yourself.
Yeah. In the same sense that you have coaches, and just to let people know, this is not a homer take. That does not happen at Ohio State. Coaches do not lie to you. They tell you the truth straight up. And when they offer you, they mean that offer. They're very serious. If Ohio State comes after you, you better pay attention, man. Those coaches there, every coach on that staff, they really care. They're not filling your head full of just stuff. So in the same sense that you do have some coaches that will use car salesman status. On the other end of that, there's recruits and family members that's how they treat coaches. That's how they treat schools. So you got a coach that really cares. And sometimes what they get reciprocated to them is, how much money you going to give me? Like they get used car salesmen. You know what I mean? I just
That's a good point.
A verb there, but that's happening a lot more. In my opinion, it's happened a lot more than the other way around.
With Ohio State, for sure.
Well, definitely with Ohio State. I mean, we saw it last year. There's several examples of kids using Ohio State to get more nil money. I mean, I don't even need to say names, but we're doubling down on Sunday. We got another interview tonight at 8:45 with the 2027 defensive end out of Alabama. We're going to get him on. And this week is loaded, man. Tuesday, we got Braylon Womack and his mom again coming on the live show. And then Friday, we got that Pops Pod. So stay tuned. Let's get these questions out of the way here.
You want to just ask one since we're going live again?
Yep. It's just going to be one, man.
I'm ready when you are.
Okay. I can't ask that one. Okay. Which team was ranked ahead of Ohio State in both the Associated Press and the United Press International polls in 1961? Let's see who gets this one, dude. I don't know it. I'll tell you that real quick.
I don't know it either. I wasn't alive back then. I'm not expected to know it.
Yeah.
Stilly's going to get it. I bet you.
1961. Who was rated above him? All right. Somebody's got the right answer. It is Taco.
Who was it?
Ken Taco. It was Alabama.
Dang. Ken, how'd you know that? Or were you just guessing?
I didn't know Alabama was good in 1961.
Was Bear Bryant coaching in back then?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah. Well, guys, we appreciate you. You guys have been hooking us up with sharing, our video feeds and stuff on all your stuff, man, getting the word out. Thank you guys so much, man. We appreciate your support. Hit that like button, share it again for us, and tune back in at 8:45. Got another interview for you. On that note, love you guys. Appreciate you. Go Buckeyes. OH.
I.O.